professional bodybuilder, a blood sport debater, and I love talking politics and social issues and relationship dynamics. And you can find me on X as Mighty Martae and also Instagram as The Real Mighty Mouse and also YouTube on The Edge. You can find my channel and tune in later. So
okay,
that's my intro.
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because I don't like adding the opening statements, unless only on certain occasions do I like the opening statements, but for the most part, I like to cut it out.
to the Capitol.
He said to peacefully protest. Yeah.
Is to pressure Congress to accept his fake electors so that he remains in office.
Right. I can go ahead and pressure anybody to do anything, but we're talking about commanding people to do an insurrection on behalf
of... Okay,
so
here's a question. So help me with this, okay? So do you agree that everybody was there on January 6th because Trump called them to be there?
Well, as far as this, yes, a peaceful protest.
So he called them to be there. Do you agree that everybody went to the Capitol building afterwards because Trump said that they would all be marching to the Capitol?
He said to peacefully protest. Yes. Once again,
do you agree that they all went to the Capitol building because Trump told them to go to the Capitol?
Not fitting the guidelines for any insurrection. We're talking about a peaceful protest.
I'm just asking a simple question. Did Trump tell them all to go to the Capitol building?
He said to march over to the Capitol building. Yes. He specifically stated
he called all of them there on January 6th. They all marched to the Capitol building. Okay. They broke through the barricades and they started to break into the Capitol building to delay the certification of the vote. Did Trump make any effort until Ashley Babbitt got shot and killed? Did Trump make any effort to intervene when he was notified that the Capitol was being overrun?
Let's back up. You're talking about making an effort. Well, let's get past this first point. When did he state to break past the barriers or do any of this other stuff?
I never said that. I'm asking, did he?
That's a good question. Yeah, because that's my first thought. It's like, well, wait a minute. So now you Destiny has changed it from, well, he told people to be there, and then when those people that were there did whatever they did, now it's like, well, Trump made no effort to stop it. And it's like, well, wait a minute, but Trump also didn't directly tell them to break through the barrier and to break into Congress.
He make any effort to intervene once the barriers were broken?
So there's a timeline here. So he did text right after this, matter of fact, to go home in peace as soon as he could, urging rioters to go home in peace. The critics, they vaguely argue this was too late and included a sympathetic language like "we love you," things like this. But once again, this wasn't direction. This wasn't direction. You're saying
no one is talking about direction. I'm just...
Well, no, Destiny, because you brought up direction, though. You can't bring up direction like, well, he directed everyone to go there, but then all of a sudden ditch the direction and be like, well, he didn't make any effort to stop it when it's convenient for you. So you brought up direction, though, is the problem.
Asking, was it not the case that the Capitol was broken into and for hours there was a riot there before Trump told people to go home?
Destiny, my first point was intention and motivation. Can we get past this first?
No, you can't even answer my simple question, so I don't know if there's any point in this. So far you agree that everybody was there because Trump called them to be there on January 6th. They marched to the Capitol building because... What?
I had a simple question. Where's the intention and motivation? We're getting past this. Now you want me to ask your questions without even...
I don't know what you mean, the intention and motivate. The intention was to circumvent the lawful electoral vote slating process. That was what they wanted to do, and he did it. He managed to circumvent it for some time.
Entailment of proving this. Can you show me in any way where this was tied to a disruption? Meaning, like, if you're talking about this specifically, can you point to where he instructed people to commit any treasonous insurrection activity? Period. You're failing time and time again.
Hold on. What is my standard of proof here? Do I have to show him saying you guys need to commit treason?
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question.
No, wait.
I mean, kinda, yeah. Yeah. You know, if because listen, if he might have called a group of people to the Capitol building, but then if one guy leaves and goes and robs a liquor store, and another guy goes and leaves and donates $1,000 to his local orphanage or something, you can't sit there and say like basic bottom line is once they're there, like. He didn't directly say to do anything. So therefore, it's like, how is he supposed to, how is it his fault if there's some people that do this or some people that do that? There were also some people there a lot of people there actually, who were walking through the Capitol, no problem, like a guided tour that didn't do any violence, didn't do anything. So by your Destiny's logic there, see, Donald Trump's intention was to have a safe rally because, well, there were people that were going through the Congress safely, the Capitol building safely, and didn't cause any destruction. So therefore, Trump try to stop the insurrection by Destiny's logic.
I need you to wait. I need you to answer that question. Does Trump have to say, "I need you"?
Destiny's been learning too much about Pisco with the whole yes or no, yes or no. You need to answer this question, yes or no, yes or no. He's been hanging around with Pisco too much.
You guys to commit treason.
He doesn't have to say this for a riot. He doesn't have
so
to
then when
say
Trump,
this
so Trump's final words in his speech were, "And we fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore." How am I supposed to interpret that?
His final words were marching over to the Capitol building and peacefully patriotic protest. You're leaving this out, Destiny.
Yeah.
When you're
exactly.
saying,
I'll read the whole last paragraph. No, that fight peacefully thing, that's not his last words at all. These are all of his, this is the end of his speech. And we fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Our exciting adventures and boldest endeavors have not yet begun, my fellow Americans, for our movement, for our children, and for our beloved country. And I say that despite all that's happened, the best is yet to come. So we're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I love Pennsylvania Avenue. We're going to the Capitol, and we're going to try and give, the Democrats are hopeless. They never vote for anything, not even one vote. But we're going to try and give our Republicans, the weak ones, because the strong ones don't need any of our help. We're going to try and give them the kind of pride and boldness they need to take back our country. So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I want to thank you all. God bless you and God bless America. Thank you for being here. This is incredible. Thank you very much. Thank you. So my question, one question, and you can ask me whatever. Wait, one question. Just let me ask one question, and then you can answer whatever you want. I'll answer it. Can you tell me after he ends this?
Dude, Destiny's starting to spurg already. I think, when Destiny starts to talk hyper fast, that's when he's getting kind of flustered, like he's already kind of sweating because he knows he might be losing here. So good on Martae. He's already got Destiny kind of spurging out already.
Speech like that, saying "Fight like hell and take your country back." When all of them walk to the Capitol, or when all of them walk to the Capitol building afterwards, and then they break in and they fight like hell to take their country back, was that just a coincidence?
Destiny, I know you like to gish gallop right now. You're not doing.
I'm not gish galloping. I just read a quote and asked a question, but you're not going to answer because you know the answer.
Quotes right now. This is what you're doing right now. I'm trying to answer your question right now, and you're just talking over me. I'm asking for the inciting of violence. I haven't heard that. I haven't heard anything as far as like inciting a riot. I'm not hearing about tearing down buildings, killing anybody, or doing any destructive activities. All I'm hearing is a powerful speech by Trump that could, matter of fact, I'll even concede. Let's say that he was talking about a riot. Does this fit the definitional terms of what an insurrection is?
Yes, but we're not talking about a riot either. But also, so then you're telling me then that it was just a coincidence that after the speech, it's a coincidence that
So Destiny's point's probably going to be, is it just a coincidence that after he tells them to fight like hell, that they go and they break the barriers and cause violence, that's just a coincidence? Again, that same logic, I could also say, well, is it just a coincidence that after Donald Trump said, walk peacefully and go peacefully and powerfully, or whatever he said earlier, that there were people that actually just walked through the Capitol with no problems? They were given the guided tour pretty much. So are you saying that after a coincidence that he said to go peacefully, that there were people that actually did things peacefully?
It's a coincidence that after this speech, everybody went down to the Capitol, broke into the Capitol building, and delayed the certification of the vote, which is exactly why.
Well, that's false, because it wasn't everybody. It wasn't even majority.
They were there to protest. That was all a coincidence.
You know what? That would happen during a riot too, right?
I'm going to keep it. Just wait. I'm just going to keep repeating the exact same question until he answers that. I'm just letting you know. But that's okay. We can do this for the next 20 minutes.
Well, technically, the last words he said was "go home in peace," literally. And this was.
I'm talking about the speech, and I'm going to repeat my question. So it was a coincidence then that the people who were gathered there on January 6th to protest the certification of the vote, that were told by Trump to fight like hell, that walked down to the Capitol, that they broke in and they got through and they prevented or they delayed the certification vote. That was a coincidence.
I would say yes, this can coincidentally happen in any riot situation or any grouping situation. This can happen after a Knicks game, after they lose in a basketball game. Things like this happen. If we say, oh, we're going to fight like the Fighting Irish, and it's going to happen. The whole topic.
Wait, you said like a basketball game.
Let go ahead, Martae. Get to your question.
The question today is if Trump led an insurrection, not if he led a riot, not if he led a group. I'm trying to hear the motivation and intention. I'm not hearing any of that through the speech. You're failing to prove that right now.
What were they there to protest? Why were they there on January 6th?
So right now we're talking about a system in place that people disagreed with.
What system? What were they there on January 6th to protest?
An electorate system.
So The president of the
Were
United
they even there to protest? Technically, I thought they were there to support Trump. You know, Trump was going to be there giving a rally and speech. Was it actually a protest though? And this is a serious question. Like, I would say it would be to support Trump. It wasn't to protest. I mean, yeah, I guess there's some protesting because, again, the people were there because they felt that there was an injustice going on. They felt that they were being robbed, that their vote wasn't being counted. So
States brought them there to protest against the electorate system. And then all of those people that were sent by the president to the Capitol building that ended up delaying the certification of the vote, those two things aren't connected at all to you. That was just a coincidence.
I mean, can you point out where the motivation was to cause violence or a riot?
Yes,
Fighting,
the words we
fight
fight like hell.
We fight through votes. We fight through free speech. We fight
You
through
can't fight through votes. The election was over.
Well, hold on. No, there's still a vote, meaning our speech. We vote in the way that we talk and the way that we walk and the way that we protest. So there's still quote unquote hypothetical votes that are still happening through our presence, through means of protesting and walking. So that's what I'm referring to when I say voting. So not only do we vote this way, we vote by our dollars when we buy things. So what I'm saying though is that I'm still waiting for proof or any evidence that this was incited by Trump and led by Trump, even though he spoke to peacefully conduct this and march this towards the Capitol. I'm still not hearing this. You saying simply fight. This could be a fight through our voices, through marching, through protest, which is peacefully. I'm not hearing any of this stuff. I'm not hearing attention or motivation.
So then tell me, what type of evidence would you need? Would you need Trump to say, you need to go to the Capitol building and break into the Capitol building and commit treason? Is that what you need?
I mean, that would basically help, but I don't see anything.
That would only help?
Can I ask, what short of that would you consider evidence, Martae? I'm just curious.
You mean my threshold as far as like
threshold?
what would you consider? I would say I need you to go ahead and do them in bad, specifically them. Meaning like I need you to go ahead and just put a stop. Like meaning like let me clarify this, right? Let me offer a clarifier. Something akin to creating treason. Any language as far as causing treason, meaning overturning an election. I don't hear any language as far as this.
Wait, any treason like overturning election? So he said in the speech, right. Okay, you look back there all the way to the Washington Monument, it's hard to believe. We must stop the steal, and then we must ensure that such outrageous election fraud never happens again and can never be allowed to happen again. What does he mean when he says stop the steal there?
Meaning
all this doesn't mean that Trump was calling for violence, though. It doesn't mean that could mean other various ways. I mean, Trump had already by that point started trying to do it through the courts. So, I mean, obviously, if Donald Trump was talking about violence, he would immediately just have gone to violence, but he was already trying it through legal means. That could mean anything. It could be through legal means, through whatnot, but yeah.
That there's an investigative process that's happening right now, and people are going to.
Sir, I'm sorry. No, it's January 6th. He's lost the election, and they're just doing the certificate that we're past that.
Do you think an investigative process stops after an election? No, this can continue.
They didn't. They lost their cases. They didn't find anything. Yes, it stops at that point. The transition of power is going to happen.
He didn't.
Hold on.
Well, no, a lot of those cases got thrown out. They didn't lose.
Do you think that there can be a separation between the protest and Trump, meaning that his intentions were to march peacefully, but meanwhile the public is pissed and chaotic? Disarray, saying we need to stop this, and they're translating.
Trump make them pissed. They're not translating. Trump makes them pissed. Okay, when Trump says all of us here today do not want to see our election victory, what victory? He lost, stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing, and stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done, and that's what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. Our country's had enough. We will not take it anymore, and that's what this is about. And to use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal. What are they trying to stop there? What are they doing there? They're going to use their speech?
So motivational speech to incite people to peacefully march towards the Capitol. I mean, this sounds like a speech to question maybe an investigative process or fact-finding process, even by the public, because we're inclined to question government activities, whether or not an election was legitimate or not. This can happen post-election. Now, if a group comes together and wants to maybe riot, he didn't state riot. He didn't state cause an insurrection or incite treason.
Just real quick, you acknowledge how unbelievably intellectually bankrupt it is for you to keep saying he didn't use the word riot. He didn't use the word treason over and over again. You know that it never works that way, right?
Hey, even if we throw this language out Was there even language adjacent to, causing a disruption as far as the buildings, knocking out
fight
police
like
officers?
hell or you'll lose your country? I feel like fight like hell or you'll lose your country is a pretty big.
Yeah, see, the thing is that people need to focus on when arguing this with Destiny is like, yeah, well, what about the people that didn't cause any violence that day, or didn't destroy property or anything? What about the people that were just walking through the Capitol building, or even the people that were just outside, not doing anything outside of the Capitol building? Okay, they also heard fight like hell, and they weren't causing violence. So that's the thing he's leaving out. In order for Destiny's logic to work, majority of the people there would have been engaging in violence. Majority, if not all. But the fact that it wasn't, that it was actually a minority of people causing the violence and the destruction, and the majority there of people weren't engaged in that, it throws Destiny's logic and his mind reading, it throws it out the window.
One, yeah.
Yeah, fight like hell. I can walk down the street and basically the ABs that happened by Planned Parenthood in March and fight like hell that way with picket signs. Well, so it's like that's interpretation. You're assuming that every single person in the crowd was like, "Oh, we're just going to cause some treasonous event towards the Capitol." Like, to me, that doesn't.
They all assumed that, didn't they? Didn't they assume that when they broke into the Capitol?
Okay, let's say they assumed this. Can you prove? Can you at least demonstrate how Trump told them to do this?
Why, if Trump didn't tell them to do it, why didn't Trump stop them when they were doing it?
Okay.
Let's flip that around. Okay, all the people that were there that wasn't causing destruction, why wasn't Trump encouraging them? Hey, what are you doing? Go in there and break some shit, huh? What are you guys just standing around for? Go in there, take over the Capitol building. Let's take our country back. Why wasn't he doing that by your logic? We could flip this around. And sometimes these people don't realize that, how we could kind of just flip it around. And as soon as you flip it around, you see that their argument is full of shit.
Once again, we're at an impasse. When I ask you during this whole debate where the inciting of this was, when I'm saying that, so let me go ahead and give you a hypothetical. Let's say I tell you to walk down to the store to get groceries. Did I tell you how to walk to the store? Did I tell you which avenue to take or anything like this? When I say peacefully protest, patriotically protest towards the Capitol, is he telling them how to do this?
Well, it would depend on his action. Okay, let's try another hypothetical. Let's say
translation error. But this
wait, hold on. We're gonna play a hypothetical game. If I walk to a pool and I see that there's a child that just fell into the pool and the child is drowning, and I don't do anything to stop the drowning child, do you think I have some moral responsibility there for not intervening?
Right, but you're talking about maybe a delay. He did this nonetheless, and you could say, well, maybe there's a delay.
Ask the same question when you're done rambling and trying to obfuscate. Do you have a moral responsibility to save the child when you watch the child drowning?
Martae could concede that and say, yes, you do have a moral responsibility to save the child. Like, Martae could concede that, but at the same point, it doesn't do anything. It's not that analogy doesn't work. It's not the same thing. Trump wasn't there in person to be like, okay, guys, no, stop, everybody. No, you put that down. Hey, no, don't break that window. Like, you know what I mean? It would be like a more proper analogy is, hey, you're at work and your child then drowns, and you know what I mean? I mean, it's still a stupid analogy though. It doesn't work no matter what, but that would be like a more closer analogy. So Martae could concede that yes, they have he has a moral responsibility to save the drowning child, and it would no way affect his argument.
Question right now. Everybody has an opportunity.
I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying if you walk to a pool and you see a child walk in and they're drowning, do you have a moral responsibility to help the child?
If it's me or not, everybody has a responsibility. This applies to me or not. So if I
okay, do you think that responsibility
action does that? Okay, so if I have a delayed action,
do you think that responsibility? Do you think that responsibility would be even greater for a lifeguard?
Destiny, if I have a delayed reaction, does that prove incitement of said riot or said insurrection?
If you said that you hated the kid and you told the kid to go play in the pool, yeah, it might actually. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's not what happened in this case. If
he did. He told them to go play in the pool. He didn't tell them to drown. He told them to go play in the pool. And then when they started drowning, he didn't stop it. You don't think that looks really suspicious?
Yeah, you can say this, but here's the thing, though. I'm still not hearing a correlation.
Just reading this real quick. Tyler TV puts, they had broken into the Capitol before Trump was finished talking at the Ellipse, which is a half-hour walk from the Capitol. People that were there to see Trump weren't at the Capitol yet, and Tyler was there that day. I guess we could say that now that Biden's not in power.
Between inciting and a motivation, or
you can't say correlation. I've already won on the correlation ground. He said words, people walked to the Capitol, and they committed a riot that broke into the Capitol to delay a lawful process. Like, so you're the one that's fighting now on the causal chain, and you're saying that it was all a coincidence.
Doesn't make any sense. By the way, back to this, Destiny. I'm telling you, if he has a delayed reaction and said it nonetheless, all you're doing is mincing words and saying, well, he just didn't do it fast enough. That doesn't mean anything. If I do something slow, it doesn't mean that I incited it or my motivation or intention was to cause this. Do you understand?
If he had something, no, because if he had something to gain by dragging his feet, which he did, and if when the insurrection was happening, the only thing he and Giuliani were doing were making phone calls to lawmakers to try to certify the fake electorate slates, yeah, it kind of seems like he wanted it to happen. He was facilitating it.
You're presuming to know somebody's mind by saying this is why he drug his feet and this is why he has incentive to do this. How can you
assuming we can never figure out what's in somebody's mind?
In this case, can you demonstrate why Trump, that he dragged his feet on purpose? Can you demonstrate that?
Yeah, by the phone calls that he was making to lawmakers to get them to delay the certification of the vote.
What?
You mean after or before or during?
During, when the insurrection was happening and Trump was capitalizing on it, rather than doing something, which he's commanded to do as president of, we now see he sent the troops to DC, so apparently he can do it, right? Even when the mayor doesn't want it, he's got the troops there now. Why didn't he send them there during January 6th?
So if there were FBI agents in the crowd working for who? Who are in, let's just say FBI agents were working in the crowd. Who are they employed by at the time? Were they
Donald
working
Trump.
on behalf of Trump?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing though. If I have a delayed reaction, nonetheless, I'm going to get off this topic right here because this is moot. So if we're talking about the subject about a delayed reaction, that still doesn't prove.
Oh, you forgot that Trump was in office. That's why you moved on from that.
No intent or motivation. This implies that there's no intent or motivation. We can go ahead and separate the two. It doesn't mean that, the reason why he delayed this, you still can't prove this. It doesn't really make any sense. I don't see, because he did this and he cited anything from his sources and saying he slowed his feet or dragged his feet because of this. This could have just been a number of errors. This happens. Still, back to the current
Excuse me,
point.
he was literally tweeting as it was going on. How can that be a number of errors if he was tweeting?
Okay, so he was tweeting. A delayed tweet, same thing. Still, if he's tweeting this and still tweeted, I need you to go ahead and peacefully protest, but just like the same by saying, God bless you all, I love you, and calls this a fraudulent election before this, and is saying, hey, I need you guys to cease this later. It still doesn't promote the promotion of this. It still doesn't.
If rioters were outside the White House chanting, hang Mike Pence, and then Donald Trump just tweets 10 minutes later, Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts. Those are his fake electors, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones, which they were asked to previously certify. The USA demands the truth. This is already an hour and a half after the breach into the secured grounds of the Capitol. It was 10 minutes after they had already breached into the building, and it was 10 minutes after there was already video footage of people saying, hang Mike Pence.
Here's the thing, though. What's your definition of insurrection?
No, I'm good on that.
Okay.
I'm good on this one.
We are at the 20-minute mark. Martae, you will have the last word, so go ahead, give your closing thoughts, tell people where they can find you, and yeah.
So these are my closing thoughts. My definition is a group of people planning a serious attempt to overthrow the government using violence. He has not once demonstrated this during this debate. He hasn't described a plan by President Trump or people to use violence. Once again, throughout this whole debate, I was listening the whole time and try to listen to where Trump was telling them to use violence. By, mind you, only specific people, certain subset of individuals, which are small, brought guns. Mind you, everybody, this is the most armed nation in the world right now, mind you, and everybody has two-way rights, because when we have, I would say a protest and people bring guns, doesn't mean that we're going to go ahead and use this for an insurrection. That doesn't make any sense. So, by the way, he still hasn't proved that there's basically an incentive or, Trump saying, I'm telling you to use violence towards the government. And not only this, a serious attempt to overthrow the government using violence by a planned event or a coup or some treasonous way. This language hasn't been used the whole time. During him or during this debate, I haven't seen from my opponent at all at once. You can find me on YouTube at On The Edge, and you can find me on Twitter at Mighty Martae, and also the Real Mighty Mouse on Instagram.
Thank
So yeah, that was good on Martae. Martae did good. This is, I think, his biggest challenge. But obviously, this is like Destiny. This is the best that the left has to offer, and we all know that's sad that Destiny is the best. But there's no denying he is the best that the left has when it comes to debating. And the thing is that with Destiny, what I would have done is I would have tried to flip it around, like the logic, because his whole thing is, well, Trump said fight like hell, and then there were people that caused violence, and therefore, and I was like, okay, well, Trump also said to do it peacefully, and there are a lot of people who are there in peace. So by Destiny's logic, then his intentions were to actually do it peacefully, since he said peacefully, and there was a lot of people in peace that didn't cause any violence and such. All right. In fact, I would think the onus is more on Destiny to prove that he had more intention, because again, nowhere was Donald Trump saying, let's go take over the Capitol building. All the people that were there that were there peacefully, that were not causing violence or anything like that. Trump wasn't going, hey, what are you guys doing? Why aren't you guys storming the building? Let's take this fucker over. Go in there and cause some shit. Like, he wasn't doing any of that. He wasn't encouraging more violence. In fact, anything he came out later, even if it was delayed, and said, hey guys, no need for this, no need for violence. Like, he came out and tried to quell the violence. If he were really about taking it over, he wouldn't have done that at all. And if anything, he would have also been encouraging the people who weren't there to cause violence to go and cause violence and take it over, if this really was an insurrection. So yeah, flip everything around, and Destiny's logic when it comes to January 6th absolutely does not work. With that said, though, good on Martae. He did do a good job. I think this was a good test for him. Martae is definitely getting better in his debate. He's a guy to watch out for. You can sub to his channel, Martae Ruelas. His channel is On The Edge. I'll have it linked down below. And make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to my channel. That'll be helping me out a lot. If you'd like to see more content like this, I have a channel full of stuff like this that I think you'll enjoy. Also, make sure to catch the Cold Stream Live Mondays through Fridays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time.